Hello, I'm Dick King. My friend Harvey Weil was a one-of-a-kind person. Harvey was very talented in all kinds of fields, but he truly excelled in one thing, being a good person. Not only to his family, his friends, and business associates, but to everyone he ever met. He had that rare quality of setting you at ease and really listening to your concerns. He helps so many, many people. The presentation you're about to see is about the many faces of Harvey Weil, attorney, civic and political leader, outdoorsman, conservationist, family man, Rotarian, and friend. So I take great pride on behalf of the Rotary Club of Corpus Christi and the Friends of Harvey Weil Steering Committee to introduce Harvey Weil, a man for all seasons.
There are special people in life, those whose abilities seem boundless, whose integrity and ethics can only be matched by their love and compassion of and to all living things. Such a person was Harvey Weil. Harvey's family moved to South Texas from Alsace-Lorraine shortly after the end of the American Civil War. Harvey was born in 1916, the only son of Moise and Ada Weil, who were well known for their generous charitable contributions to many Corpus Christi civic organizations. Harvey was an exceptional student, a gifted athlete, a natural-born leader whose reputation for fairness began at a very early age. He always enjoyed a good laugh and had a great sense of humor. He loved the outdoors, to fish and hunt with his friends. Harvey entered the University of Texas in the early days of the Great Depression and earned a business degree. He then entered the law school at the university in 1936. He was law review editor and was a noted tennis player. At the university, he met Frances Utley. His friends called her Butch. She and Harvey were married in 1942. After graduating, Harvey came home to Corpus Christi and joined the Kleberg Law Firm, the oldest law firm in South Texas, whose roots date back to 1849. But America was at war, and Harvey soon joined the Navy. He commanded an LCI landing craft in the Normandy invasion on D-Day. After the war, Harvey returned to Corpus Christi and returned to the Kleberg firm. He soon made partner, then managing partner. His expertise in admiralty and maritime law were quickly becoming a legend. The Corpus Christi waterfront was beset by problems, and Harvey was made public counsel to the Port of Corpus Christi. For the next 40 years, Harvey tirelessly worked to improve safety at the port, build commerce, and protect the natural environment. He was a prime mover in the creation of the Whooping Crane Shelter and many other maritime and wildlife-related conservation causes.
Well, I had the very good fortune of working with Harvey Weil at the Port of Corpus Christi for nearly 40 years. And during that time, I got to know Harvey pretty well, and I developed a deep respect and appreciation for his vast knowledge and expertise in so many different areas, especially at a time when we were not subjected to laws and rules and regulations concerning the environment. Harvey Weil was sincerely concerned about protecting the environment. And whenever he advised the port commissioners or staff about a proposed project, he would always express his desire to protect the environment. Harvey was a man well ahead of his time.
Well, I actually started practicing law 20 years ago in 1978 and learned a lot from Harvey. He would train me how to meet with clients, how to treat clients, how to respond to clients, how to draft documents. I can't think of a more perfect mentor for a young attorney just out of law school, or even for an attorney who's been practicing 20 years. He was a great person to visit with and to learn from and to train with.
Harvey Weil was a member of the Corpus Christi Rotary Club for 41 years, serving as president from 1960 to 1961. He also served as president of the Corpus Christi Chamber of Commerce, and he served on many other boards and commissions.
Reason why when he died, I think there wasn't a street name for him. There wasn't any recognition of all the things that this man had done. Here he was, a native son. He'd given of himself to his country as much as any man I knew. He was involved in all sorts of wildlife and marine conservation, but he was a leader in everything that he did, and that was practically everything that was important to Corpus Christi in South Texas. He was president of our Rotary Club and a member for 42 years, all his career practically. He was the essence, I would say, of everything that Rotary stands for. Service above self. That was Harvey Weil.
Harvey's passion for preserving the environment was matched by his dedication to education. He was a member of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board for over 20 years and did much to build the present University of Texas system. He also served as a member of the Advisory Council of the University of Texas Marine Science Center at Port Aransas and on the Sea Grant National Advisory Board.
Ever since Harvey died, Dick Conley and I had discussed that there needed to be some type of memorial to Harvey for everything he had done for the community. And finally, I guess it was February of '95, that he and I met and decided that it was finally time that we needed to implement some type of plan. And finally came up with an idea after one day at lunch, came up with the idea of the Harvey Weil Sportsman Conservationist Award.
The annual Sportsman Conservationist Award, given every year in Harvey's name by the Rotary Club of Corpus Christi, is just one fitting testament to Harvey's lifelong dedication to marine and wildlife conservation. Harvey was an avid fisherman, as was his wife and family. To Harvey, Port Aransas was like a second home, where he would go to offshore fish with his family, friends, and business associates.
What I remember more vividly about Harvey is the first time he invited me to go fishing with him. Even though I'm Greek and should be a great fisherman, I have never been fishing in my life and never been on the Gulf. After bouncing on the Gulf for a little while, I felt so bad I thought I was going to die. And as I turned around for help, there was Harvey sitting in his chair with a can of Lone Star in one hand and eating sardines out of a can. I didn't think I could feel any worse, but after taking one whiff of those sardines, I was proven wrong. And even today, as I walk into a grocery store past an aisle where the canned meats and fish are displayed, I always pause and reflect on this incident, and I'm very grateful for having known Harvey Weil.
Harvey would always take the young law students out on his boat to go offshore fishing. That was always a real treat. It was always fun because if someone got seasick, Harvey would never come back unless it was a lady. So if it was all the male law students would suffer for quite a few hours. They sure were always thankful to hit the dock and then go to Harvey's house for drinks afterwards.
Later, he would often travel abroad to fish the waters of the world.
And this was a typical way that Harvey would handle adversity. We were fishing in Venezuela. We took a big sea. The door came loose somehow, and it smashed Harvey's thumb very severely. Chuck, his son, sort of took over that day, and we managed to get to shore, got into some sort of military ambulance, and they got the wound cleaned up on a temporary basis so we could go to Caracas and see a hand surgeon. And of course, the traffic was horrible, and we were backed up, and Chuck was nervous, and I didn't know what to expect, and Harvey was asking questions about the population, and then I sort of spontaneously broke into holding his thumb up, of course. I left my thumb in Venezuela to the tune of I left my heart in San Francisco, of course.
My sea shanty goes like this. I lost my thumb in Venezuela upon a blue but rolling sea. Now the Merit has a door that latches at the floor. The latch came loose, the door smashed me. We went ashore at Playa Grande. The doctor said, please understand, can't help you here. You must go to Caracas to a special surgeon for that hand.
And that was just Harvey.
Harvey's dedication to conservation can be seen firsthand at the Wilder Wildlife Refuge in Sinton. The refuge, supported by a foundation, was established by Harvey's wife's parents, Rob and Bessie Wilder. Harvey was a trustee of the foundation for more than 40 years.
Of all the people that I've known in conservation, at least from the citizen conservation point of view, Harvey had to be number one. He was totally dedicated to the natural world. He had offices and committee assignments and used his resources in every way he could to foster the natural world, marine and terrestrial environments. As you may remember, he was a member of some very prestigious boards and had offices in some of these organizations. Just for example, he was a member of the Sea Grant, the National Sea Grant Governing Board. He was a member of the University of Texas Marine Science Center Governing Board. He, of course, was very influential in starting the Wilder Wildlife Foundation. Those are just two or three things that come to mind offhand, but you could list a dozen others over the space of his career. And the interesting thing to me as a person who's worked in conservation is that this man was not trained as people who have professional training are. So his contributions were from his own doing, from his love of the land and the people and the animals that were on it.
Harvey's greatest joy in life came from being with his family, his wife and children, and his grandchildren. In many ways, this was Harvey's greatest contribution, for Harvey always understood what were the truly important things in life.
Dad really enjoyed taking trips with the whole family. We traveled since we were very young and would go different places, fishing in Mexico, to the ranch, to the beach.
And especially I remember the trip he took our entire family on back in about 11 years ago, I guess it was, to Florida. He decided that he really would like to treat us all, the kids, the grandkids, everybody.
Grandchildren included.
Right, and we went to the Florida Keys and found a place where there was, once again, we're talking wildlife, there was a place where you could swim with the dolphins. And so we all, as families, swam with the dolphins, and that was a really special time. We were there over Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, I played tennis with him, and that was my first introduction to Harvey. And then later in life, why We stayed friends all through high school and college, and when I went to A&M, Harvey came over and visited me there, and I went over to see the girls in Austin more than I did to see Harvey, but I always stayed with him at the ATO, I believe it was, a fraternity. He was he and Dick Kleberg and Tom Matthews, a few others. And we hunted and fished together when we were in high school. I remember going down to Flower Bluff and wading out and fishing, wade fishing back in those days.
He was just a prince of a man and enjoyed life. He had many, many friends in South Texas and elsewhere in the nation. He took care of the people that worked for him. And one particular thing I can recount that really was important to us out here, he took us fishing every year. He was a offshore fisherman, had a large boat, and every year he would make arrangements for us to go out and fish for billfish. We were landlubbers, and just about every time we went out, we would get sick in a dog. And Harvey, he would be there drinking Lone Star beer, playing 1950s music, and eating jalapeno peppers on a cracker, and just having a heck of a time. The rest of us leaning over the rail. We did this 4 or 5 years, and finally we told him, so Harvey, we really like to quail hunt. And from that point on, he took us quail hunting, and we always had a great time with that.
As we said earlier, Dad loved to fish during any time of the year, but especially in the summertime. And one of the things that our husbands did and our kids did, and many of his friends did, I'm sure, when they went out fishing with him, was every now and then to catch a teca fish. And this was really a special fish that Dad liked to show his guests on board how to catch. And it usually happened that you were trolling, for sailfish out in the Gulf.
For hours and hours
Right.
and hours, and it's hot, and you usually fell asleep.
Right. So usually you're sound asleep, and all of a sudden it's your rod that gets the strike. And Dad says, BD, Ada, Mac, Greg,
Quick,
Kirk,
grab the rod,
see-
let's go, here it
Right.
is, go.
Sit you down in the chair, and you're fighting this fish, and you are fighting it, and it is, it's like a fish that, what do you call it? It sounds, it goes down, it just stays down. It's not a sailfish that's jumping. It's something really big.
And the boat captain is maneuvering the boat around, backing it up, backing down on top of that.
Right, and trying to help you get it up. Well, finally, when you have, reeled and pumped and get the fish up to the surface, a teca fish is a bucket that's filled with water that's been attached to your hook, and that has, it's bucket spelled backwards. We've all caught teca fishes. Teca fish.
It's a way to get you up
Right.
into fishing.
Really never knew Harvey until I came to work here. And the first time I ever met Harvey was I was clerking for the law firm between my first and second year of law school. And everybody always heard about Harvey throughout South Texas, and it was a real honor to even meet him, much less work for him.
We miss Harvey a great deal, not only for the leadership that he provided this foundation, but also for his always friendship and knowing that he cared and all the things that he did for us as personalities and people. So we do miss him, both from a personal standpoint and for his leadership.
And he had a wonderful smile. I can even see it today clearly. But if something struck him as humorous, he just had a wonderful smile, and I would be laughing, of course, but he would just acknowledge the situation and smile, and we went on. But he was.
I can remember going out to his ranch near Hebronville, and there is a cafe there in Hebronville called Pancho's, and he always stopped there. I guess he and Pancho had known each other forever. But he was just as much at home with Dolph Briscoe, the governor of the time, as he was with Pancho or any of the rest of us. He was always a person that got along and was endeared to just about anybody that knew him. I can say that those of us that worked out here for him loved him.
Certainly I miss him. Well, all of his friends miss him, you know. He was such a special guy in so many ways, yeah.
The Rotary Club of Corpus Christi Harvey Weil Sportsman Conservationist Award is given annually to an individual who has been, as was Harvey, a leading conservationist of our wildlife and marine environments. The Harvey Weil Award Foundation, in a very short period of time, has raised more than $1 million, the invested proceeds of which will aid conservation causes for generations to come. Harvey Weil, attorney, conservationist, outdoorsman, civic and education leader, Rotarian, family man, friend. He was all these things. Harvey passed away in May of 1991, and we will not see the likes of his unique character perhaps ever again. It is only fitting we conclude this presentation, Harvey Weil, a man for all seasons, with the way Harvey would want it. In his own words, in song, at a place Harvey loved most, on the sea fishing with his friends, having a good time, a good laugh, a good life.
It goes, oh, give me a home where the white marlin roam, where the sailfish and blue marlin play, where never is heard a discouraging word, and the cold